here. What am I missing? Oh, I know what I'm missing. Gotta go over here. Here you go. I just sent it to you. Okay. Yeah, you're good. So that's it. Okay, so I'm going to close this. All right.
You made me the host. I don't have to accept it, I don't think, do I?
No, it's already done. It's
Okay,
already
good.
done. So I'm going to open up this so I can see comments. Oops, I'm going to turn that voice up. All right, and then I'm going to open up YouTube so I can see comments there. Boom. Let's turn that volume off. All right. Okay. All right, so this is a very special occasion. I'm really excited about this on a personal level because I really enjoy Lisa. And just to kind of give an update, we'll just kind of do a little house cleaning while we're doing this. So we've got about 18 new shows on Solargy Network. Most of those have already debuted, and we got about another 18 that I'm going to be bringing on beginning this week. So by the end of the month, we should have about 30 to 35 shows that mostly run weekly. Some will run, some might even run, daily at some point or 5 days a week. Some run every 2 weeks and some run monthly, and some, whatever. But anyway, we're going to have about 30 programs or 30 new programs by the end of the month. And plus the programs I do. So we're actually have about 50 hours plus 50, 60 hours a week of programming. And we met with IT people last Friday, and we are going to have an app. I saw several iterations of it. It's very dynamic, very robust. It's going to be exciting. We are going to give the app to people for free, and they will be able to watch the public page, which will be free. If you go to solargynetwork.com now, the first page is called public page. That's where you land. Right now it has a video logo, but very soon it will have a continuous thread of excerpts from our original programming. And the idea is just to keep building it, keep adding shows, keep adding people, keep adding channels, and just be the reflection of the universe that we are, or that we're aligning with. So adding frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. That's in the spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and depending on what we're talking about, are doing courageous virtues of the I Am Soul. So without further ado, I am really excited. Lisa Nicole, she's from New York City. She's an artist, she's a poet, she's many things. She has a very unique program, I think, that she's come up with. And actually, her soul came up with it. She told me this a couple of days ago, that she got a download. This is what you're going to share with the world. And she said, how the hell am I going to do that? And 3 or 4 weeks later, I sent her a message and say, hey, would you be interested in doing the show on Solargy Network? She goes, oh, that's how it's going to happen. So that's kind of what happened. And I'm going to hand it over to you. But I just want to say, I'm so happy that you're here. And thank you so much for sharing and sharing from the network, with the network, as the network. And I look forward to this being in perpetuity. So thank you for everything, Lisa.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the network. Thanks for believing in this really massive dream many years ago that you've been sharing with all of us through the years. And it's so thrilling to hear your origin of it and see where it's at now, and be a part of it, and be a part of something developing. It's really exciting. And yes, to everybody listening, exactly what Todd said happened. I received in the way we received and we're all personal with that, but this idea of sharing my poems, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be sharing poetry specifically. I'm going to be sharing it at night in New York City, or whatever time you guys watch this. I'm going to be sharing bits and pieces from my day, from like whatever comes in to do with the poems. I'll be sharing poems that are gathered around a theme for each show, that I'll know what that is that week. And I might add to that a lullaby. I might add a fable. I might add a short story, all of which I've written. I might eventually, and Todd, I need to talk to you about this. As you know, as some of you know, I'm also a visual artist. And yeah, I live in New York. I don't know if you can hear all the sirens, but there will be some ambient.
No, I
noise.
can't hear. I can't hear
Oh,
anything.
there
I
are
was
wicked
just.
sirens going by right now.
It's actually my own ears.
Oh, okay. I
yeah,
can talk louder too. But I was thinking it might be really nice to, at some point, add some of my photos, sort of like as I'm reading. And I have a very good friend who is great at web design, who was talking about even designing, you know, the flip books. I have one on my website. You can do like a digital sort of flip book and do visuals that way with my photos. The way, but reading with poetry, so people have these images that are coming directly, for me, directly from the sun, directly from what I call God, what other people call source, from love, out and into mostly geometries. I'm doing lots and lots of geometries now. So that might be, there might be picture book storytelling at some point in this. I don't know. There might be friends that I bring on to sing songs, sing lullabies that they've written, or sing poems, or read poems, or read stories that they've written. But what I want to do is first say the reason it's bedtime stories is that a few things. First of all, if we're lucky, when we're children, someone reads us a bedtime story or sings us a lullaby, and it is the most delicious thing that fades away as we get older. And I noticed even friends who are like self-declared atheists, when they have a child come into the home and they have a nursery, they understand the sacred. That nursery is this, it's a nursery, it's preserved, it's protected, it's a sacred space. And it should be. And I believe all spaces can be and are, and all we have to do is turn our attention to it, and it brings out the sacred. Every soul is sacred. My computer is sacred. Anything connecting us can be sacred. And so I feel that bringing these poems at night as people are going to sleep starts to engender that sort of open world of the liminal and of the dream space, which poems contain. So I want to share poems and a gentleness with the world. And I also want to say this about poetry. Poetry isn't supposed to shut us out, and it isn't supposed to be hard to understand. It's supposed to, from my perspective, speak soul to soul. It isn't a book, it isn't a narrative, it isn't an essay, it isn't an act, it isn't a meme. It's something quieter. It is a hologram. It is multidimensional. Every word in a poem means at once as many things as it wants to mean. And it means something else tomorrow when you look at it. And that's how I dream. That's what you talk about on this show. That a poem is a multidimensional monad. So what better way to start to walk into sleep? Speaking the language of dreams and of sleep, where all the constraints we have here go away. So I'm a big believer in sleep and in dream and in listening to all of that, and that we work through a lot there, and that the dream states can be continued when we wake up, and the wake states can be woken up into release, which I've heard you talk about a lot. And a lot of people on your show already do. So without further ado, I'm just gonna now read you the first poem for tonight to sort of inaugurate the show. It's called
The inauguration.
The
Can you hear me?
Inauguration. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you. Can you hear me?
And I was, the funny thing is, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I was talking about I like to write at least 2 or 3 nights a week, and I was just telling them how important it is to me. It's very important to me. That part of my life it's always been important, to write. I don't know. It just, and then to be able to share it, I think is cool. It's very cool. So
Why is it important to you to write?
because it's my soul speaking. It's my soul speaking, and it's like this puzzle. I was telling my friend, right? I like to study like Leonard Cohen, early Springsteen, Dylan, Robbie Robertson of the band who just passed away. Rest in power. Just different songwriters, their phrasing, Kendrick Lamar, Mac Miller. I love Mac Miller.
I love Mac Miller.
Yeah, just so many different people. And what I want to do, my soul, this incarnation, this iteration of my soul, is as I want to create something that's never been created by using the same. It's just for me. I mean, like using the same philosophy that I see life and soulology, which is continue adding frequencies to an ever expanding vibration. And so I spend my time, I'll put on music of all different genres, and I'll write these pieces, right? And it's funny because like they can just change so much. I mean, because I might be listening to Mac Miller, right? And then I turn on ZZ Top, like old ZZ Top. And then I'll turn on, Leonard Cohen or Jeff Buckley. And so it ends up being this whole kind of meandering thing. And then it just, I don't know, I'm chasing something with it. So, okay, why is it important? Because it's I don't know, it's like a summation of the moment, which is all about, in this case, Todd's reflections, as the human representative at the table, at the monad, right? At the monad. So yeah, it's something that's really important. And I think a lot of people can relate to, because I know a lot of people journal. I've done my share of that, but in the earlier years. But yeah, I just think that there's something about expressing yourself. And where is it more important than expressing to yourself? We just did this little soul gathering. And by the way, everybody, I'm catching up. I think I've got 5 more videos to load up, and we'll be caught up again on the network. And one of those is the 4-hour gathering that we had in my hometown of Corpus Christi this weekend. And my mother went, which was really cool. And she had to leave about halfway through. She had another engagement. But when she got up to leave, she had a few words, and she's told everybody, be yourself. Be yourself. Because if you can't be yourself for yourself, you can't be yourself with anyone else. And I thought that was really appropriate, given that we were at the soul gathering. Everybody will see, because I'm going to put it out there. I've got the tape. so many different types of expression. Like it was just like amazing. Like, and then that's what it's all about. That's a long answer to your question, but
That's beautiful. And to hear that about your mom is really neat.
mm,
No, I love to hear why people like to write because I agree with you. It's a way that your soul, a deeper inner, speaks to you like the more outward. It's a different. It drops you down, and you're not just talking about it. It's a slowdown. It reminds me of how I feel trees communicate, but trees are slower. You are listening to a tree. You're hanging out with a tree. You don't hear anything. And then 6 hours later, all of a sudden, you understand some things. And this is how I started to understand and really love trees. They're moving at a much, much, much slower speed.
yeah.
They have these very, very long lives. And so writing, and this is going to be a good lead into the first poem. When I first started to have my wake up that I couldn't deny and all that, I was called into silences, or I'd be like, well, I'm going to do a silent day. Just unplug from everything. Everything's shut off. Just go walk in the park or just lie here. And then it would be a 2 days, 3 days, and it would just keep expanding. And it is so delicious. Anyone who's done it before, it's like an ecstasy. It's almost like when you fast and like the first 24 hours are really hard. And then you're like, oh, wow, I can really smell air. I can really taste water. Silence, especially nowadays when we're so plugged in and there's always a hum. When you go into silence, time starts to stretch. Everything is very, very slow. And what you can hear of your soul talking to yourself or of your God or of the trees becomes something that it's just beautiful. There's this cathedral of voices, but in the way I would say you hear people describe who have had near-death experiences. They're like, I saw colors we don't have. I heard sounds we don't have.
Right.
We do have them. There's an infinite number of colors and sounds, but slowing down and writing, back to the writing, from a place that's, you're not always, I write every day, I write every morning. I'm not always silent, but going to that quiet, slow down place slows you down and you write from a different part of your soul.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to give you a tip.
Yeah.
You're using the computer microphone?
Yeah.
Right?
Is it too loud?
No. You have to, like where you're positioned right now, stay there.
Yeah.
Don't move around.
Oh, okay.
It starts to make, no, you're good, but it starts to make reverb.
Oh, okay.
But where you're at, right? Yeah, you just have to keep your head straight, kind of thing. You can use it. You just have to keep your head straight. Yeah. Last comment on that, because I think that's really important, and I think that's important as to why this this show is important. Also, if you look at Angie Willow Love's show, which is Under the Willow Tree, which some of that is reading stories, and then if you look at Glynis,
She's great.
Yeah, Seamless, like this past week, she had this weekend, she had our friend Athena, the human witness, on, and there we're talking about Aphrodite.
Mm-hmm.
And again, here we are with the stories, and yeah, just the way they actually speak to us. Because if you look at the wisdom that's been passed down, we quote sacred text and we quote the Bible and Sanskrit and this and that, but the real history is the oral tradition. And I feel like that this is a big part of the Soulology Network. Is, I remember, because I'm getting chills, I remember back in the day before I hit the road, like 2016, and I was doing this, and I wasn't even having people on yet. I don't think they even had, that wasn't even out there yet. And my son said to me, 16 years old, Dad, what you're doing is, like timeless. It's there for people to hear, and so I think that's like, it's almost like the oral tradition is making a comeback. And
That's real. I think that's I think that's absolutely what Sology is doing as well. It's like, remember making time capsules in school?
yeah,
It's like they're living time capsules.
right, yeah, and music too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ernestine's right. Music and
Yeah.
art, but something about the throat chakra on this particular incarnation that really speaks to me, no pun intended. But yeah, there's something about the throat chakra, that the power of it. I feel like it's because it has physical and non-physical properties. You know what I mean? So like
You know what you mean?
that's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
unique. That's kind of,
Yeah.
and
I
I'll tell
know
you something.
exactly what you mean.
I'll tell you something really interesting too that's happened over the past 3 weeks when all these shows started coming out. I started hearing this inflection in people's voices. And I noticed in some other people too, people that come on the show, people I run into, but it had to do with speaking their truth. And in this inflection, I could hear the trembling in their voice, the nervousness, because I've experienced it many times when I sit down with Ty, and I have to carry a melody, which 9 times out of 10, it's nothing I've written. I've got to come up with the words and the melody, right? And I remember that so many times, this trembling, but the voice can still come through, and it actually comes through more pure, which is interesting. But I've noticed this over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe it's just in my universe, but I've noticed it with most of the people that are initiating these shows, which is really
I don't think
inspiring.
it's just in your universe. I think that sounds like a poem, what you just described. And it's very sweet.
Mhm,
Once somebody starts to quiver,
mhm.
something real is going to come out, and we get moved when someone's taking a risk and being themselves. And that's what's exciting about the world moving forward. These shows, this network you've created, that we've sort of come as far as we can as people, with shields up, not being ourselves. And I, for one, doing this show, it is an act of bravery, because I have had a lockdown on my throat chakra for many years,
Mm,
or a trying to guess what I know I'm not alone in this, trying to guess what the other person wants to hear and how they want to hear it, and just people pleasing basically, but to a gross extent,
yeah,
where I lost what my voice was, what I wanted to say. I was ashamed of, like, blah, 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 all this stuff. And so now, and also when you grow and change, your voice grows and changes. And on the throat chakra, I studied acting for a long time. I had an other life as an actress. And I had an acting coach say, change your voice, change your life. And that was a way to get into a character.
wow.
Where in the throat does this character speak from? Does your character speak from her belly, from her head, from her teeth? How does she make sound? And it was incredible because at the time, I think my voice was really disembodied, and I talked like I was kind of up here, and she had me like drop down, and then you can use your whole throat. And everything is all things like a Chinese medicine is a metaphor for the rest of it. So yeah.
That's
So
fascinating.
that
I didn't know.
tremble
I
is
didn't
very
know that.
sweet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's a lag. No, I didn't know that. God, this turned it into a talk show.
No,
But
please
we'll
don't
wrap it
touch
up
it,
because
Chad.
I got to go tend to my
Yeah.
mom. But no, I did. Okay, two things. I knew that you were in theater / acting, but I didn't really, because I hadn't really been exposed. I guess we talked about it. I know that, but
I haven't
but the,
done acting in a really long time. I gave that up and went into
yeah,
writing, but
yeah, but
studied it. Yeah.
I didn't know that about, like, that's fascinating, that each, like, to examine a character and say, okay, where are they at? that's really interesting. And
Really neat.
I've
Acting
noticed,
yeah.
yeah, like working with Glennis, with her program and just a couple other things I ran into in the last couple of months. The metaphysical aspect of acting and performing, it's like there's something to that. There really is.
Acting is one of the weirdest arts. And if you talk some of my favorite actors, like I'll say, like, what's your method? Like you get a character, and some of the best actors are like, I mean, I do a little of this, a little of that. They can't really nail down what it is they do because it's this kind of, but they're doing something and they're really good. And they have a technique and they have study and they understand that it's something you have to do. It's a focusing, but it's very like, the Sorcerer's Apprentice. It's like really good actors are magic. Really good singers are the same way. They have techniques, but they're very metaphysical. They're very like mystical.
I think I'd like to try it one day. I think I'd like to try.
I think you'd be great at it.
I'm gonna read with Glennis when I get a chance.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna read with Glennis, and I know you guys are gonna come together. I heard y'all are gonna come together.
Yeah, we've started chit-chatting, and yeah, she's really great. She's a really great girl.
Yeah, she's doing, everyone's doing a great job with this. I'm totally blown away by the originality of the programs, the authenticity, to steal Anna Toothman's title of her show, the people, the guests, the ones that are having guests, the guests that have come on have just been absolutely mind-blowing. And yeah, it's just such a variety, and I really I really feel like I've had the luxury of downloading this, for the past 11 years, and it's actually happening now.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool that you've been talking about it and now it's happening. It's exciting to see something like that. And also like that you let everybody in on how long it can take something that's very massive to get it off the ground and to make something material. You're making it.
It's been a grind, but it's like reflective of our whole journey, our whole journey on Earth together. So, but listen, I'm gonna let you do that. I'm gonna plug in on my phone and jump in the car and go tend to my mom. And I love you and thank you so much for showing up. And I will.
Oh, it's already half hour.
No, you take as long as you want. We're good because you can kill it whenever you want to.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I'll reach out to you soon. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks, Todd. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm going to start tonight with a poem called Quiet. This is a new vast. This room is live. I can hear plants grow and insects cross ceilings. I can hear you. I can hear blood. I can hear Earth's rotation in my sleep. The second poem I'm going to read tonight is called Inclination. I want to send us all off, myself as well, to sleep. I try to do this every night. I try to practice sleep hygiene, they call it. I had insomnia for years. Terrible, terrible case of insomnia. And if I'm talking to anybody right now who has it, or who is a partner to someone who has it, it's a terrible affliction that just spins and spins and spins because you become afraid you won't fall asleep. And then that feeds itself, and it's terrible. One thing that I try to do is make the space around my sleep like a nursery, like I was saying earlier to Todd. So the air quality, sheets, the light or dark, the scent of your perfume, if you perfume your sheets, or of your detergent, or the candle in your room, or the softness of your pajamas. All electronics gone, unless it comforts you to listen to someone, which it did for me for years. I would listen to Todd, I would listen to Amanda Lawrence, I would listen to Dr. Joe, I would listen to some physicists, I would listen to people who were talking about beautiful and interesting things in voices that I liked. And I would just have them on my phone and I would listen to them. And that became like a bedtime story for me. And when I've had bouts of fear and insomnia or nightmares, terror, we have terror in this life. I've listened to people. That's when I've allowed electronics in. But my point is to always have something really gentle and really beautiful and representative of a place you'd want to go before you go to sleep. So this is a place that I think would be a lovely place to go. It's called Inclination. Inclination. At the top of a Ferris wheel overlooking a waving black sea sit two children swaying in the seat, about to turn 13, about to, for the very first time, taste spun sugar at the fingertips of the other. They just know they were made for it. They've been waiting their whole lives for this moment. And when a gust comes and swings them, each lets go of the painted bar and becomes instead what the wind holds on to. I think with this show, I'm also going to want to have these moments of silence because, I mean, if I read a poem, someone else's, I have to sit with it. It's not a straightforward bit of writing. That was pretty narrative, but there are these little snippets, so you want to let them land, rest with them. So there will be moments of quiet, which is how I read bedtime stories to my niece when I've done them. The next poem I am going to read, it's called Care, How You Feel in It. And it's, why do I want to read this tonight? Talk a lot about, and I think a lot about sacred space. And that includes your outfits, that includes your rooms, where you live, how you, it can include everything. And this is funny that it's coming in. I was nervous, but also excited about like, oh, I wonder what's going to just kind of pop in that I'm going to want to talk about. And so this is what's popped in. Todd mentioned Glynis, who was talking about Aphrodite, who figures really prominently. Glynis is a costume designer for the film industry in South Africa and a new friend. And Aphrodite figures largely in her life and work as she does in mine. And I call her Venus. I come from a Roman background. I use Venus. And an aspect of Venus came to me, two aspects of Venus came to me from my two grandmothers. My grandmother, Teresa, my maternal grandmother, was a beautician during World War II. And she was also a singer in a trio. So those are very Venusian traits, music and beauty. And she said to me, always put lipstick on. I'm going to get choked up. She said, always put lipstick on and mind how you look. Because if you're feeling down, if you're feeling blue, if you're feeling less than, it's no one's business unless you choose to make it. Anything happening to you that you share, anything happening to someone else that they share, especially more difficult things, is a privilege. It's very different from what we do today. What we do today is also important, I think, that we share more. We don't keep so much bottled up. But with all things, there's a sine wave or there's a pendulum. And I love to remember that about my grandmother. Wear lipstick, whatever lipstick means to you. It could mean Birkenstocks, or it could mean high heels. It could mean Manolo Blahniks, Birkenstocks, lipstick, or no makeup. Whatever feels like beauty to you, whatever feels like care of your heart and your soul and your body, which is your heart and soul's encasement. Whatever beauty feels like to you, it's important to have and to bring to yourself and to the world. My paternal grandmother, Josephine Piroli from Bari, was a seamstress, a dressmaker, and exquisite in everything she did and everything she made. And this painting hung in her house. I have others. This was by her brother-in-law, my great uncle Luigi Leone. And she paid attention to hems. She paid attention to everything being pressed, everything hanging right, so that you look beautiful, and so that you even honor the tailor and the seamstress. It's funny that I thought I would have trouble filling in a half hour. I like too that I talk about quiet all the time, and like I can go. Okay, this is called Care, How You Feel in It. It might trip me up. Whoever it is, be careful. He is someone who matters. She is someone who matters. They're reading this too, and so it includes you. You are someone to be careful as a tailor with. Use the proper thread. Customize the fit. This is for you alone to wear when you meet us walking, protected from the elements, proud of the obvious care that's gone in. It's very cool to care about something so much. Care about something. Care about your work, care about your moment, care about your sleep, care about your waking. Care. Care about each other. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay, I'm going to try to sing you guys a song. Okay, this is a big risk for me. I will probably get choked up. Maybe not. We'll see. I'm going to lean in. I've been told that I'm soft, so I'm going to lean in. This is a song called Lullaby. Oh, wait, for a second. What I'm going to do is just like when you, when you sing to a child, you close it slowly. You let them, you make sure they're asleep, and you back out quietly. You leave the door ajar, you leave a nightlight on, and you don't say anything else. You just let it drift. So when I finish the song, if I make it through, I'm going to just wave and quietly close this down. Yeah, okay, Todd showed me how to do it. So this song is called Lullaby, and it's a song that comes in a scene. So a young woman is in a nightgown in her bedroom on the ground floor, wood floor, 2 white beds with white linens, a vanity at an open window in summer with white linen curtains blowing. The sun has gone down. There's that little pinkish orange glow on the horizon and that purplish blue light of dusk, the gloaming. And she asks her aunt in the room, "How do you know it's love?" And her aunt sings, "Well, let me ask you this. Tell me, when you kiss, does it make you cry almost? Timed inside almost, like a lullaby. Like a lullaby. Do you believe in powers of early morning hours, when night lets go of you in the throes of you as your insight towers? Do you believe in powers? Do you love him, little girl? Do you know, does the sky above him seem to glow when he knows you are near? Do you know how to call him dear? Well, tell me, do you hear a certain atmosphere where birds are saying what saints are praying? And does it sound sincere, that whisper in your ear? Do you love him, little girl? Do you know, does the sky above him seem to glow when he knows you are near? Do you know how to call to him dear? Do you know how he knows you are near? Do you know how you call to him dear? Between what is that?